Welcome to Chilltime with Jose. I'm Jose today, the CSGO show with all to know, and we're going to be talking about everything about CSGO today for this week, or what's happened this week. We've had a lot of online games. Let me just tell you guys this much. We've had, on HLTV since last week, we've had 178, I believe, online games that have been listed on HLTV. And Jesus Christ, that's all I've got to say. At one point, because I think I was casting the MDL at one point for Australia. At one point, there was 8 games going on my HLTV screen, and because the main reason why I was wondering, like, why was the viewership so much lower than usual for MDL? Because like a lot of my MDL casts and viewership have declined substantially compared to last season, and it just seems like there's a lot of CS:GO action on from the Tier 1 teams, and also from the Tier 2 teams and Tier 3 teams as well. Just very very impressive how the Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3 areas can coexist, and how much the Tier 1 teams draw from these Tier 3 teams as well. It was actually quite interesting to see that. But anyways, guys, let's get to our first story, which is the probably one of the most depressing stories that we have at the moment, which I'm not happy to present, which is the I am Melbourne. Unfortunately, got the wrong thing. And if you guys don't know, we'll just scroll up. You guys probably didn't see it. The Melbourne Esports Open, which is where I am Melbourne was going to be, has postponed to 2021. I got my email about 3 days ago, and as soon as I got that email, I think it was like I was in mid doing MDL. My heart just sank, dude, because that just basically means that I won't be traveling anywhere at all unless DreamHack Sweden magically cleans up and allows people in. I'm not gonna be going to any events this year because BlizzCon's already cancelled. DreamHack Summers, even if it got pushed back, it was cancelled eventually. What else? Melbourne's been postponed to 2021. Even though Australia is doing very, very well with the COVID-19, they just can't risk it with international people coming in as well, because they have to self-quarantine themselves for 14 days. And given the amount of online CS that's on at the moment, I don't see any team voluntarily wanting to do that by giving up 14 days of competing in tournaments essentially. Because if you come to Australia, guys, just in case you guys are wondering, if you don't have Australian residency or a unbelievably good reason why you should be there, you get turned back at the border. If you are let in, you're forced on a 14-day quarantine in a hotel room. Basically, you guys are essentially separated in Australia. So what happened? It postponed to the 21st and 22nd of August 2021, I believe. And pretty much it was just a matter of time. And also as well, nationwide ban on large gatherings. Basically, the federal government's banned it. And ESL basically outlined that. Also at the same time, ESL 1 Cologne was moved to an online event. So if you guys didn't see that as well, there's this article from Here's the Thing in Australia discuss that. And, basically, it kind of sucks. It sucks, but, it was kind of expected. Everyone was expecting this event to be next on the chopping block, to be the one to be axed in the end. And indeed, ESL 1 Cologne getting axed. Now, I am open in Melbourne, or Intel Extreme Masters in Melbourne's been axed, and of course, the Esports Open, or Melbourne Esports Open has been axed as well. And basically, Melbourne was a lot bigger because they're going to have the Rod Laver Arena. The Rod Laver Arena is much bigger than the Kudos Bank Arena, as far as I know. And, of course, you can, turn that tennis stadium into, anything you want. You can even put more crowd members in there as well. And, it's a pretty disappointing for the Australia's only event to be cancelled. A lot of people were upset. I think Rolfco, Frankie, and a lot of other people who do enjoy going down under were very, very upset that this event got cancelled. And, I was hoping to apply at this event as well as a caster, to see if I can get on board as a caster and, basically sink my claws into, potentially getting a foothold into the door of the esports scene. And, unfortunately, we have to wait there. And then, of course, you guys got there, the writers and editors. Going to be Nicholas Talfos and Ben Scott from Here's the Thing. So basically, it's one of the Australian websites, just in case you guys don't know. They're one of the Australian websites that do the Australian esports, everything that happens in esports. They even have their own little power rankings as well. And, that has a little power ranking section as well. As you can see here for CSGO, they, rank the teams and probably give the reasons why as well. And this should really be called Change the Team Skyfire. And this should be called Truckers of Attitude, just in case you guys are wondering on, what they called. And the rest of the teams are pretty much unchanged. So, this is Here's the Thing, and basically it's an Australian esport media website. And so let's get to the next thing. Let's go to HLTV. We've got some other news as well as some player movements. Is that Dennis is still standing in for Apex. I'm actually kind of surprised that Apex haven't tried to pick up Dennis, or is Dennis, using Apex as, basically a team to play with until, a team reaches out to him. To be honest, though, I don't think Dennis won't get any higher than an MDL team at this stage. Also, he's like nearing the end of his career as well, given that he's 29. And, a lot of people won't bet on players that are over, over 27, 28. Like, a lot of the Polish players found this a big issue, where a lot of teams weren't going to pay them big contracts effectively because they were just simply too old, and they weren't going to give them long contracts either because they were too old. So basically, Dennis did for Apex. Now he'll be standing in for Home Sweet Home, and basically this is what the team's going to be. It's going to be Marcelius, Truth, AKs, Grusan, and Dennis. And basically, Dennis is also playing in a new tournament, Blast Premier, the Rising tournament. And, basically there's a lot of tournaments that are basically happening at the moment. And, Dennis standing in for, once again, another team. And I'm not sure, how Dennis is, how they go in, let me just be honest, how they go in Apex. And if you guys didn't know, Ratifaction taking the bench spot as well. And, Dennis has been playing all right. Like, nothing spectacular in Apex. I think he's mostly trying to get used to the team. A lot of people are criticizing him already, saying he's a bot and he should retire and stuff like that. You can't really judge a team on their first set of games, okay? Like, there's a few instances where you can. Like, for example, Jay-Z walking Z on Renegades when he was, he was clearly out of his depth. Like, clearly out of his depth. But, people are saying to drop Dennis when he's only played about 1 or 2 games with Apex. Or no, not 1, 2 games now, 4 to 5 games. And he's not used to their movement and stuff like that and what they do and how they play as a team compared to, what Dennis used to play in Game of Legion. And I think it's very, very harsh. I think, you really got to test a season or season or 2 with the new team to see if they've got any better with it. Like, basically you can say at the moment it's not looking so great, but, at the end the result is the main thing you want to aim for here. So basically, Ratifaction was benched because of unsatisfactory results, mainly because they didn't get to the MDL when they really should have, and Ratifaction seemed to be the main problem with Apex. And now, we're going to get to the next article. It's going to be one of the juicier or saucier topics. It's the 5 Australian guys that were caught in the match fixing scandal in the ESL MDL. As I close off my phone, sorry, phone's just been a bit distracting. It's beeping at me, or flashing at me at least. And basically, everyone's been saying, Australian CSGO has been rigged and, everything's bad, everything's scripted. I mean, I get it every time I do MDL, and angry bettors who snap their keyboards in half, being like, Brain, it was fixed, it was scripted, this proves my theory is correct. And, basically they're completely, utterly clueless. And they're acting like Chiefs or Renegades did this thing. It actually wasn't the team. But anyway, Victorian police has arrested 5 players, as written by Mira from HLTV. Investigation was launched in March. There were 6 arrests made. Basically, I think it's a coach and 5 players. And basically, it's a 27-man, 3 20-year-olds. And basically, if you guys are wondering what happens in Australia with batch fixing, it's taken extremely seriously. In fact, you can go to jail for about 10 years max. And it's actually got a higher max charge than an assault. That's how seriously we treat match fixing. And basically, these kids got caught under it. Now, there's actually 2 of them as well, as one of them faced 2 charges. So he's done another charge as well. And I assume he must be an insider as well. But there has been some information. If you really want to look for it, you can look for it on the court registry on who the players are and who the people are. And I can just tell you right now, guys, it was not even a team in the MDL at the moment. It was a team that just basically got into MDL and were immediately relegated. They didn't take any part in the last. I think they didn't take part in the last 3 to 4 MDL seasons. This is from a year ago, roughly. And, basically according to the ABC, which is abc.com.net.au, basically they won about 30 grand. 30 grand Australian, which is about 20k USD. Which is, I'm going to tell you now, they're going to lose that money and more, okay? I'm going to say what's going to come after the event. Let's just say they're guilty. They're going to be banned for ESA for at least 5 years. ESA's normal policy for matches is 5 years. And watch the Fortnite guys. Their heads are going to explode when they see this. They're going to be like, 5 weeks? But Mr. Dick or whatever his name was only banned for a month, and that's too long. But these guys can be banned for 5 years. I won't be surprised if Faceit do the same thing. Faceit mirror the ban. And Valve will probably ban them permanently, given iBuy power. and they'll probably ban them permanently. And I probably shouldn't do that voice as well, because I probably scare all my YouTube subscribers and all my Twitch watchers away as well. But yeah, that's what happened. Basically, they're going to get done, 5-year bans for all of them, I reckon, as soon as this case is over. And that's going to be CSGO career dead, because a lot of these guys are in their 20s, and generally when you're in your CSGO careers, you get into your prime around 23 and 24, and these guys won't be able to play ESEA, they won't be able to play FACEIT, they won't be able to play LPL, which is an Australian-based server, and they won't be able to play Valve tournaments, and that's pretty much CSGO career dead. They can probably go to Valorant, but I think, that little stench of being a bunch of match fixers will hang around them, just like if you could close out a hacker as well. So yeah, they'll basically appear in court on September 15th. The result of this case will be probably widely watched and announced once it is announced. I'm going to suggest to think that they're probably going to get 2 years, maybe a fine, and the fine will be worth a lot more than what they won in the bets. And it's very disappointing that this has occurred in the scene. People have been, basically betters like Rage and fanaticize about how every game is scripted in the ECA and stuff like that. And this only just adds fuel to the fire that their fucking feverish dreams are true, where every game in the world is scripted, okay? And one of the guys who did do it, one of his reasons was the fact that, we were a bottom team, we're gonna lose anyway, so why don't we? So basically, that's what they said. Why don't we, bet on ourselves to lose? Just so that's what happened, if you guys are wondering. And that's match fixing, okay? That's match fixing, okay? 100% match fixing. You can't do that. And also, as a player as well, you're gonna get banned by ESEA, because if you're a player or involved in the production of CSGO, you cannot bet on events. And of course, these guys are gonna get done by that rule as well. And that's why they're gonna get all these bans from the different organizers for CSGO for match fixing. And some of these kids should know better. Like, they've seen iBuyPower, they've seen how Brax and the others got banned, and banned indefinitely, may I add. Indefinitely. Like, can you imagine how badly Steel and Brax's careers have been ruined purely because of iBuyPower and that match fixing scandal? Like, can you imagine how much careers have been stunted? A2Z as well. Like, they had to go to new sports. I think A2Z, IZK went to Overwatch for a bit and then came back to CSGO. Because, ESA and FACEIT lifted their bans and Valve didn't. So you can imagine how hard they were hit. In fact, I think the only tournaments Brax could participate in for CSGO was Fragadelphia until ESEA, DreamHack, and FACEIT lifted their bans. And, just to put it out there, guys, with the corruption, just don't do it. Like, seriously, it's not worth it. It's not worth your money, dude. Basically, all the court systems in the world have a penalty system where they'll take all your bets at least, so you don't make any money, okay? You don't make any money from it. And all the betting agencies, if they detect something unusual, they'll report it. They'll take you to the police. Like, if you're thinking about it, just, I'll just tell you what's going to happen is that they see an unusual amount of money going onto an area. If they see a name that matches up with one of the guys playing, they'll tell the police. Like, 100% report it to the police. Like, this is how iBuyPower was caught as well, because one of the betting agencies noticed that a certain, unusual amount of bets going on one team. This is how, Kieran from Vortex told me that, it was a bit unusual, the match could be fixed. It's because he said an unusual amount of bets was on here, and one of our partners told us. And a lot of people seem to forget that, is that the betting agencies don't want to lose money. Okay, so they're motivated by monetary reasons to make sure the game is fair. Because otherwise they lose money if they have to pay out more. So, just to be aware of that, there's betting agencies, there's the organizers, okay? Like, they'll be free with this information to tell each other and tell the cops. So don't do it. Don't do it, because you're going to get caught, and it's not good if you get caught. And you are basically shaming the entire game, okay? You're putting a blight on the scene. Not just a blight on yourselves, but on the scene overall. And it gives those crazy bettors who think every match is fixed fuel to their fire. So just don't do it, okay? The penalties will be harsh. You will cause a damage to the scene, and you'll probably never be forgiven for it. Okay? That's my comments on that. But anyways, let's get back to the news. So let's get back to Astralis. Astralis want to add a 7th person to the roster. They're not happy with S-Tag. They want more. And, well, who are they going to add? That's the big thing. Who are they going to add other than S-Tag? So, So basically, Zonic said, well, S-Tag's going to be the same as everyone else. And they're looking for one more, okay? They are looking for one more on S-Tag, and a lot of people are suggesting there's one Senate player in particular that Astralis are looking for, and the next article, which is not that article, but this article here, suggests that people are thinking it's going to be KJB from North. And basically, Jumpy's going to stand in for KJB, Jumpy being the new North coach, as KJB has an illness on the players' part, which North announced. And a lot of people have been speculating that KJB is going to be the 7th player to join Astralis. Now, I'm not sure about this, okay? I've got no proof for you guys to be like, okay, he's going to be joining Astralis. There's been nothing really, really reported at all. Like, I've checked, talked to a few people and stuff like that. It's all under hush-hush or NDAs. And I don't think anything's happening here. I don't think it's any stir. I don't think KJB would leave North, given that North is backed by probably a better company than Astralis is at the moment. Astralis is financials. You guys don't know, Astralis lost money again since Astralis is listed on the stock exchange. And North's backed by a very, very successful football club. But they could have also been in dire straits as well because of, no football being played. And, KJB basically, KJB is basically having an illness at the moment. It's been unfortunate they lose their best player. He's renewed his anchored contract at the end of next year, didn't he? Yeah, he did, He did. He can also be bought out as well by Astralis, but I don't think Astralis have the cash, lying around, to be honest. Like, I think North would have set that buyout clause way sky high to prevent this sort of buyout. And I don't think Astralis could even afford it to begin with anyway, because their money situation is pretty poor. If you guys watch Behind the Numbers with Richard Lewis, they actually talked about their announcement of, they actually went through the financials of Astralis, and it's not looking good because of the COVID-19 and stuff like that, because they're not winning as many tournaments which have big money, because they're getting cancelled. And also, of course, the firm not going so great as well. I'm not saying that Astralis is going to fold or anything like that. I'm just saying that, this year isn't a great year for it, and they won't have exactly, cash lying around unless they raise capital for it, and it's going to be pretty difficult to raise capital in a publicly listed company that's recorded a few losses, unless you've got some good guarantees on it, essentially. So, that's the reality of it with Astralis, but let's just talk about this. So, if, KJB is picked up, let's just say KJB is picked up by Astralis, then we'll add another player with S-Tag as well, and I've got to say, I might get a bit concerned with how Valve is going to position themselves if certain teams who are big powerhouses just buy all the good players. Like, that's what I'm going to say. Like, let's just say the Team Liquids and the, Team Liquids, the Renegades, FaZe, all those big, powerhouse organizations. What stops them from just buying up entire teams and saying, oh, they're just going to be playing, they'll be on equal pegging and playing. What stops them from doing that? So, maybe the loyalty system from the other smaller orgs potentially as well, and the smaller orgs, becoming more well-known if the bigger players are taken out of the scene. But, it leaves that one for discussion as well. Like, how many players are a team allowed to have? Because, like, you can go, you can have 7 contracted players. I guess at the same time, there's, also the players who want to play the game as well. That's also evident in the football scene as well, in football, soccer, whatever you guys call it, where if players don't play, they're not going to sit there collecting checks. They want to go to a team that's actually going to play football for less money. They don't give a shit. They actually, will actually go to another club. And I don't think, that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. So basically what's going to happen is Jumpy's in the roster with MSL Gate, AZ, and KJB. And it's a big blow for North, actually, given that KJB is one of the better players. Like, way, way better players. Definitely a star player they took from Astralis. And, well, obviously the experiment hasn't gone well, given that North is probably the 4th or 5th best team at the moment in Denmark. There's a lot of better teams out there. But it just shows that at the moment, I think Astralis are being very, very sneaky and very, very strategical in who they pick up. They've already taken S-Tag away from Heroic. And if they do go for taking KJB from North, that'll be really, really sneaky. Because not only do they grab 2 really good players, they sabotage their competition in Denmark, getting rid of KJB and getting rid of S-Tag and adding them to their own. Even though Heroic picked up, Nico and Tezes, which is obviously, I guess if Nico's a side-by-side with Snappy, and Tezes is probably an upgrade on S-Tag, because he's got that potential coming in. Not at the moment, because S-Tag, I'll say, is slightly better than Tezes, but over time, Tezes will probably have a higher ceiling than S-Tag. That's my opinion on that one. And it's kind of a thing if Australians do decide to do that. This is not all written in stone. It's written in stone. This is a hypothetical at the moment, so don't look too much into it. Just keep it as it is. Keep on arm's length that it could be something that's going to Australia or something like that. But as a contractor, I'm not sure how long that contract is. I'm not sure how long the buyout is either. It's not like KJB can sit out that contract because I'm not sure if North will enforce it unless they get paid. But it's not like the heroic situation where Este can wait till the end of June and he's out of his contract. Anyways, let's get to the next story, which is going to be Ents. So basically the new heroic lineup. If you guys are wondering, new heroic lineup, I'm trying to think of it. Where is it? So Jumpy's debut tournament. They took down where is it actually? They took down Apex. And I'm trying to figure out, because that's right, because heroic got the other slot as well. So basically Ents won 16-13, 16-8. Pretty cruisily as well. They added Jumpy to the squad, and they have Sunny being the in-game leader. Probably a good set of pace for the Ents guys finally. I'll lose leadership. Why do terrorists wear sunglasses? They don't want D-Dust to get in the eyes. Okay. But anyways, Ents, once again, being a bit dominant. They did beat Apex. Apex is an advanced team, a top advanced team. So beating them 2-0 on Nuke and Dust 2. Pretty impressive, especially with Jumpy in the squad as well. Jumpy getting plus 13 and Ali getting plus 25 as well. I just feel that Ali probably wasn't really suited for the in-game leader role, as his performance suffered greatly when he took it up. And I think it's a good idea they've given it to Sunny to see what he can do. And also, of course, X7, well, as you guys see here, is rumored to be being replaced. And as soon as Jumpy gets rid of his VAC ban, I think X7 is going to be replaced altogether in Ents. And I gotta say, got to give it up to Ents because they were in an absolute hole a month ago where they were losing to absolutely teams that they shouldn't be losing to. Alu RGL bought Alu AM. Yeah, pretty much. Like, Ents, like a month ago, were losing to teams they shouldn't be losing to. They were losing to, like, tier 2 teams. In fact, the cherry that really top it off is they lost to Spirit 2-0 in the BO3. A team that they should probably, beat at least 2-1. And they lost 2-0, and it's got basically swept aside by Spirit. Like, it wasn't even a fair contest. And Spirit's, like, I gotta say, tier 2 at best. Like, tier 2, high tier 2. And they just got swept away by them. But it's good to see they took down Apex. They got into the Blast Spring Showdown. And they'll be taking on some tier 1 teams. Hopefully they can get some scalps on the road and maybe get to the quarterfinals or semifinals. But, I'm not holding my breath too much. It's probably the biggest test for Ents' new lineup going into this next invitational here for the Blast Europe Showdown. So next up, guys, is this is an interesting one. The main reason why I'm highlighting this is it's a no-name American team, Swallow Troll. They're probably well known for fraud and stuff like that. They're not exactly tier 1 NA, but the main reason why I want to highlight this is what Valorant is doing damage to in the NA scene. So Valorant isn't doing that much damage in the EU scene at the moment, or actually it's done a bit of damage in AU scene, but not so much. But the main scene at the most that's taking damage on at the moment is the NA scene, where a lot of players in August and a few players in August, a few players in Swole Patrol have quit CSGO to play, and also a few players in Buff Daddy's PayPal team as well, to play Valorant, okay, under Orgs. Brax has already got an Org in tier 1. A few other players have got Orgs as well. And no longer they're going to play CSGO. They've all retired. They've all quit. And a lot of people are seeming to move over on Valorant in the NA scene on the semi-pro scene, which is pretty much troubled signs. And I think Food has done the same thing. Food has gone to leave to play Valorant with Swag and with Crashies on tier 1. So tier 1, just in case tier 1, if you guys don't know, they're basically a team. They have a Dota team as well. They've also got Sony and a few others on the team as well. And they're trying to top up their team to have a pro team for Valorant. I'm not sure how Valorant's going to go as an esport, but it really shows the cracks on the NA CSGO scene where Orgs are not taking chances on a lot of these teams. In the MDL, for example, in NA, there are a lot of teams without Orgs. In fact, there are more teams without Orgs in NA than there is in an Australian scene. So think about that, okay? The Australian scene has more Orgs supporting teams, when the Australian scene arguably is worse than the American scene. And just think about that, okay? Just think about that. That the American CSGO scene, the orgs behind there, won't take a chance on the NA CSGO teams. And they're just going to Valorant to just tier 1 organizations who just effectively, no, just using, basically using their status to say, yep, you're going to kill CSGO. We've got all these ex-pro CSGO players playing Valorant now as pro players. And at the same time, I do have my own criticisms. I do have my own benefits. Like, I can understand people wanting to move to a new game, given that the old game's not giving the spark or passion anymore. The one thing I want to talk about, though, is one of the guys on Twitter, one of the casters, said that, I'm trying to think which caster said it. He said if you're moving over to Valorant in hopes for the bigger bucks instead of actually loving the game, you'll find yourself back at the same point that you were in CSGO just a few months ago. So it's not going to be all sunshines and rainbows if you just move to another game, essentially. And that's pretty much it. Like, if you move to another game, it's not going to change your fortunes unless you change your attitude towards towards yourself and towards the game, indeed. Because it's not, basically, a lot of things in life, it's not actually the game or what's in front of you that's actually stopping you. It's actually yourself. Due to a lot of reasons, like, you may have not solved some inner turmoil. You might not be actually saying what you honestly think to people and stuff like that. And you might not just be being real to people, essentially. And so basically, Sword Patrol, they're looking for a fifth at the moment. A lot of the players, especially in August as well, because we reported that August last week, basically disbanded and surrendered their Road to Rare spot because basically half the players wanted to play Valorant professionally. And that's what's happening in the NA scene. It's, slowly, it's not coming apart fully, but, a few players are dropping out and going to the different scene instead. Now, my opinion on that, with Valorant esports, I agree with Jason Lake. Like, there's been rumors that people are spending 20k per month as a salary for Valorant players. I have no idea why any org is doing this. You are literally throwing money into the shitter, okay? Let's just say there's, tournaments. I think the OCE tournament that was announced, you only won, I think it was 20 grand or something like that. It was a 20 grand prize pool. And you're justifying paying people 20 grand per month to play Valorant, a game that's in beta, and a game that has no esports system yet. ESL and Faceit aren't in there. They're just, happy-go-lucky cups, one-off events that might be backed by Riot themselves. Riot giving a bit of a prize pool there. There's no actual, ecosystem yet. I can understand being the first person to do it, but it's pretty risky to put 20k on the line. Like, maybe 5k at least. Like, a lot of people are saying 5k, 2k. Like, what if the game flops? What if the game's just a piece of shit? Like, what if the game's just so infested by hackers that people don't want to play it anymore? Like, that's the thing. There's a lot of risks to it. I'm not saying don't do it. 20k, I'm just saying, is my opinion, is just too much. 2 or 5k maybe, or 3k. You don't want to pay players on a game hasn't even proved itself yet big bucks. No, that's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous argument, Imuni, that, there's no big tournaments in 6 months. Like, you can say the same for so many other games as well. Like, it's not really an argument that just affects Valorant. It's an argument that affects all the games in general. So, what I'm saying with that is that it's just a bit ridiculous on how that investment's going. I don't hate Valorant, by the way, guys. I feel it's just a CSGO Overwatch mixture with Rainbow Six Siege as well. I'm hoping it does well. It's got its own little niche spot as well, and it is basically pretty casual friendly as well. And it's adopted a lot of good things out of CS:GO. It's adopted a lot of good things out of Overwatch, and a lot of good things out of Rainbow Six Siege. I'm just gonna want to be careful of the orgs who are spending money on it. Now, the biggest game. The other games are already established and have organizers replacing lots of online stuff. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, Valorant can probably do the same. Like, Valorant are doing the same with the organization of community tournaments and online events. Now, with the other stuff as well with Valorant, it's desperately killing Overwatch. Like, Overwatch League is getting killed. Like, literally the best player and the second best player have quit Overwatch to go and play Valorant. And I wonder what's going to happen now with Valorant. Like, let's just see. It's basically, at the moment, it's at its make or break stage, where essentially, like, oh, there's A2Z. There he is, A2Z. He's still playing. He's actually coaching Sword Patrol. Interesting. But I was getting to that point, which I'm going to tell you guys now, that Valorant have to make or break it here because their anti-cheat, which they basically said was going to be the epicenter, there's going to be no hackers, is being challenged on multiple different levels, okay? Being too invasive and actually not doing anything about cheaters, okay? Because, yeah, there's a lot of complaints about the anti-cheat system basically not working and hackers are still finding their way in the game. And it's super, super invasive and it's actually not doing a thing. And I think, what's going to happen is that Riot are going to have to get someone on board who's dealt with the anti-cheat system before and start paying them before it starts getting worse. And people be like, oh, fuck this, I'm going to go back to Overwatch League. Or fuck this, I'm going to go back to CSGO. And basically, they'll just flounder. And people go, oh, it's Riot. They'll never let this game fail. Well, Valve did let Artifact fail as well, okay, guys? They let Artifact fail and fall on its face, okay? For a bit, and then relaunched it, okay? Don't say the same can't happen to Valorant. It can. Like, it doesn't matter if it's Riot. It can happen to any big organization, okay? But let's just hope it doesn't fall flat on its face. But this is like its make or break point where it needs to get its anti-cheat working. It needs to take a strong step to stopping the hackers. Its ranked mode just came out. Hackers are all in ranked mode. And apparently all in ranked mode according to the tweets I've seen. And that's, that's pretty much the story that's been so far. But I'm just really showing how this has really hurt the NA scene. Like, the lack of NA orgs coming in has really got these CSGO players here just going to Valorant because that's where the money is at the moment. They get paid a salary at least, rather than relying on their own streams and donations and subscribers from their channel. Like, for example, Wardell as well. Wardell's one of these streamers. He plays for August, where he's reliant. He doesn't get a salary from August. Basically, he's reliant on his own stream and his own donations and have to pay themselves to enter tournaments. So last but not least, but Piff. So basically, the reason why I want to talk about Piff is that I cast a lot of Piff's game and when he was in Little Mix or the Final Tribe, and he used to play with HNS, but he's now retired, and he's also going to Valorant. Now, this is what I mean about, a lot of the CSGO players that haven't broken into the scene going to Valorant. They're basically trying to take a shot at another game, hoping that they might be the next Ninja or something like that, where they do play extremely well at the game, and they're top of the league of that game as well. Hey, how long are you done doing your thing right now? Well, I'll be how long I want. And, yeah, that's pretty much it, I'm going to say with that. It's like Piff going to Valorant. As I said before, it's not really impacting the EU scene that much. I'm going to say now, the reason why it's not impacting the EU scene that much is because the EU scene's got money in it still. Like, they still organize tier 3, tier 4, tier 2 tournaments, where you can win at least, more than we can win in Valorant. And also, you can have a salary as well, because there's a lot of esports orgs who are super, super interested in having a team. And you get a little salary on the side, and you get, winnings as well. And I don't think it's going to impact EU that much. Piff was in an advanced team in Little Mix, which I don't think that they don't pay him a big of a salary, and they're in advanced, so not really a big thing. It's not like taking an ESL Pro League player or anything like that at all. Now, anyways, not last but not least, got actually a few things as well. I actually got a tweet, which is kind of interesting. So basically, if you guys don't know, one of the guys called 2Eggs, he's one of the guys that announced the Source Leak code about 2 weeks ago for TF2 and CSGO. And in the end, it turned out to be a big hoopla, that in fact the code was old and that, there was really nothing to be worried about. So basically, we go through here. Basically, what happened today is that he got called out on his VAC ban. He got VAC banned on an account, on both his accounts. And basically, he said, he shared a screenshot of an email from, I think it was Ito, saying that it was a mistake. They're going to unban him shortly. It was accident. It was a debugging software issue, and he would just get his ban lifted. Then basically a few hours later, Ito, one of the guys who's from the CSGO support team who answers all of that calls, basically posted the original email saying that, the ban was applied correctly and that you cheated, basically. And this led to a meltdown from 2Egg saying he's been swatted, death threats and stuff like that. And then he basically, when he got slapped down by the CSGO dude, he deleted his Twitter. So basically what happened is that he was a main guy who was reporting all the hackers. He got about 11 grand from doing so by making a software called I think it was Helia or something like that, that basically could catch cheats essentially. Like could essentially catch cheats with the server, and he basically, got a lot of money from it. So then basically he built an anti-cheat, Hestia, not Helia, Hestia. And basically he covers a lot more updates. Thank you for follow, Corey. And he builds his own identity and brand, gains recognition. This is from Brian, by the way, at Rush B podcast. And then he continues towards the end of March. He's gone from a few hundred to several thousand. Tweets him to end up on Reddit, blah, blah, blah. He becomes, massive, massive figure. And then in late April, he basically says, there's a TF2 and CSGO exploit. And, basically shares image, information, how it's compromised, and how it can hack your system. People set this as fact. And then basically, they say CSGO could be turned out, but it was not everything that was true, and some of it was speculation and shit as fact. And then Valve announced the code was old, CSGO is not affected, and TF2 is fine, and basically 2eggs is left with unironically egg on his face, as all his stuff and doom and gloom about how everyone could be hacked somehow through TF2 is deemed practically false, as Valve basically say, nah, this doesn't happen. And then May 2nd, he gets called out by the hacking community that he indeed himself is a hacker, and he hacks in CSGO, and he got his Berlin pin and global by basically DDoSing servers, so he would win and get the rating. And that's what he got accused for in these tweets, as you see here. Basically, his blah blah blah, and also has been called out as well that his anti-cheat was actually from someone else's thing, and he's on Aimware Lifetime, which is an aimbot site as well. And, that's his old Twitter account, and, basically, pretty much they're saying that he's indeed a cheater. And this is where it basically unravels. So basically, he receives a VAC ban from CSGO. He claimed it was an Overwatch ban for griefing because he was essentially trying to derank from Silver from Global. It was actually a VAC ban. Then he still claims the ban is wrong. Had it done with another program. He's talking to CSGO about it. And basically, this is a guy. No, it wasn't. You don't have 2 bans in your profile even when you get VAC banned. I still have a game ban there too. And people just saying he's got a VAC ban, basically. So lastly but not least, basically claims he was swatted, basically quite recently, 4 days ago. Then he was back online a few hours. Then he basically think nothing happened at all. And yeah, pretty much like everyone's just asking like what's going on, trying to do a free two eggs movement to get the VAC ban lifted. They still have no idea what's going on about the swatting, if he got swatted or not. Then he still doesn't provide a report. Then he doubled down, claiming he was innocent as a misunderstanding. He was not in trouble at all, and is in talks with Ido and Gaben. And basically, he sent Norse, one of the guys that was helping him out, building this, notice board and hacks, thing for a bot to update when he's getting his anti-hack system out, saying he sent him an altered email, which we'll show here. Ooh, can't zoom in. It's a bit, sorry guys, I know it's a bit fuzzy, but it's saying that, we've looked into determined the ban was a result of a software, blah, blah, blah. We're going to unban you shortly. And basically, he's pretty much saying he emailed last Max saying he was to leave his debugger running and that he's going to get unvac banned. Well, a few hours later, Mr. Ido logs onto his main account, his Twitter account, which has no tweets on it, and responds to Mr. 2eggs with this, saying that the ban was correctly applied. So not only has he lied about a fuck ton of stuff, he's even doctored an email to say he wasn't VAC banned. And this is the point where you lose credibility with your fucking community if you do this sort of shit. You're better off admitting it up front, saying, yes, I was a cheater, but now I'm reformed. And just not fucking going to this crazy lengths to make sure you're not known as a cheater. Like, Jesus Christ, man. Like, that's a silly mistake to make. And, Ido, basically he tweeted it, his only tweet, as you can see here, is following no one. Basically his first reply to anyone. And basically it is a VAC ban. So basically afterwards, 2eggs deletes his Twitter. Prius, as the first big one sees the reply and basically retweets it. Showing the brought up 2eggs was lying. So Prius is one of the bigger guys in the CSGO scene. And basically he's basically locked down and done everything. He's also posted this on his Steam. And, he's posted this at the moment. And yeah, so pretty much he's going to be angry at Valve that, that they really didn't give a shit. He's sorry to Norse and Valve and stuff like that. And it just seems like an apology, but not an apology at the same time. It sounds like a Logan Paul apology. But the kid's young. The kid, I think, is only 20. Like, as far as I know, he's only 20 years of age. And I think he just doesn't know how to handle the pressure because he's only been recently, I think, at the end of last year, where he's had like thousands of followers. He's probably pretty new to this as well. So you've got to give him the benefit of the doubt that, he may try these crazy things, but he can't actually do these crazy things because now the world's watching him as well. And, you can't actually hide as a public figure. You might as well just submit it up front or do something else instead. And, well, that's what happens, unfortunately. So next up, we're going to go talk about the MDL. So the MDL, we're going to have our weekly results of the MDL, and then we're going to have a highlight clip of the week. And that's pretty much all of the news at the moment. So there's 2 big stories with the players getting banned, and also at the same time the players, well, another guy, one of the anti-hacker guys who 2 weeks ago was lauded as a hero, now lauded as the basically the biggest villain of the CSGO scene. So now we're going to go to week 2. So basically week 2 was very, very light on the MDL, mainly because of Blast Rising and Home Sweet Home basically putting the teams to those tournaments rather than the Mount Dew League. If you guys are wondering, the Mount Dew League's in a training season, therefore, you can't get into ESL Pro League and a few other things like that. So it's not as important as, Home Sweet Home and Last Rising. So a lot of teams are rescheduling. What they've done as well, basically ESL have told me that they are changing their ways that they are scheduling the game. So teams can only reschedule 2 to 3 times within, basically 1 or 2 days. Basically, it's to make sure teams don't reschedule as often and ESL TV is able to cast more and more games, because the biggest issue last season was that ESL TV didn't cast many games because a lot of teams rescheduled their matches on Monday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, when ESL TV is only active on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So basically, most of these games were ESL TV, so we're going to talk about Wiz Like a Cow stopped Skaday's win streak, and Skaday defeated Singularity. Nordavins keep continuing on, and also Endpoint chopped their first MDL team as taking down the Hellraisers. And Nordavin completely destroyed Alternative Attacks. This is like a complete showstopper, given that Alternative Attacks had won a lot of games previously on a 2-game winning streak, and Nordavin just basically slapped them around. Like, I think Nordavin won T-side overpass as well. They did. They won 10-5 on their T-side of overpass. And that's pretty much a GG right there, because it's a CT side map. And alternate attacks, I don't think they're going to make that mistake again by picking overpass against Nordavin. So the Unicorns of Love lost to Singularity. The Unicorns, I'm going to say 16-10 was a bit favourable, I'm going to say, to the Unicorns, given how Singularity is able to be out-teaming them all the time. And Unicorns were a bit lucky in some of the clutches that they did receive, but there are definitely some problems in the Unicorns once again, but hopefully they sort it out before the season ends. Then Hellraisers defeated Wiz Like a Cow. Basically, there's a lot of also issues in the games as well, as the Go TVs happened to crash just as these games were starting. A lot of these games had to be rescheduled. And in the last game, which I casted yesterday, which is Skaday v Gamer Legion, the only game that was on yesterday, and Skaday won that 16-5, and a new Gamer Legion look lineup just got absolutely bodied. Like, they did not look good. They were just getting absolutely smashed all over the place. And basically, Skaday were just single-handedly beating them straight up in Angels. They had 11-4 half, and they ended up winning 16-5, which is just absolutely drubbing. And Gamer Legion just couldn't get anything done on the T side, and not even on the CT side of either. As basically Rainwaker and Dennislaw just run amok. They got, every time Dennislaw and Rainwaker entered sites, it was easy, like a 4-for-2 trade, or even like a 3-for-2 trade. It just wasn't really fair. As guys, we get to the AU MDL. With the AU MDL, there's a lot more matches played, as there's not many other tournaments going on in the AU MDL. Now, basically, Chiefs took down Incevs. Paradox finally brought, reality to ESC Open, winning 16-5. This is one of the games that was rescheduled because Lose Power went out, and one of the games we got stuck with, unfortunately. The Chiefs beat Forbidden 16-5. The ex-Rosu boys were welcome to the MDL. And Ground Zero defeated Mako 16-10. That's a game I casted as well. And Mako looks very, very good in that game, as they were holding their own against Ground Zero, but Ground Zero got that clean set of heals and just went on. Bans continue their great entrance to the scene as well. Bans beating ESA Open 16-11. Skyfire beat Mako 16-12 in a massive, massive comeback. Not a massive comeback, but they staved off a huge comeback, given that they were up 10-5, and then basically Mako tied at 11-11, and Skyfire got that clean set of heals, won 16-12. Then ESA Open almost completed the biggest upset of the season, taking down Ground Zero. But Ground Zero able to rally 14 more rounds, because I think it was a 13-2 or 14-1 half, and then Ground Zero won the 14 rounds in a row to take it to overtime and win in the game. And a lot of, this was after the announcement of the games being fixed. And a lot of people were memeing that Ground Zero were going to have cops outside their house, which was, no way true. Rooster took down Overt. This was probably a lot closer game than people imagine. Like, a lot closer game. Overt, there were only 10 average ADR under Rooster in that game. Rooster were just very, very good at winning the clutches, and obviously just experiencing Approach much more on their side than Overt, unfortunately. So Team Skyfire beat Justice 16-6. This is an absolute drubbing on Mirage. Mako, they couldn't get any better, unfortunately. They got basically... Mako, I think last season they lost 16-3 to Rooster. They only did one round better. Rooster were just a much better team by miles. Much better team by miles. The biggest upset of the round was the 419 took down Team Skyfire. Team Skyfire 10-5 up at the half. And they lost 16-14. And the 419, led by Prodigy and his teammates, basically turned that match around. Skyfire got to 14. It was 14-11. And the 419 won 5 rounds in a row to win it. Then we got Justice v Overt, and Overt scores a quick victory over Justice, and they'll be super, super happy with that. Justice being the really weird squad. Now, the Truckers of Attitude, even though they're called the Tuckers, I'm not sure why, but the Truckers of Attitude, I casted 2 of these games. They took down Skyfire and took down Incept, and the Truckers were just absolutely just rolling everyone that came in front of them. Moe got a bit angry, got a bit hot under collar with what the Truckers were doing. Apparently, there were some things in the server that the Truckers said that Moe didn't really agree with, and he's pretty unhappy with it. So Bands took down Fury as they get another little notch on their belt, and also Fury have announced that their team are parting ways now, and that they're splitting up, which is kind of sad to see that, a team's already died in the AUMDL. So Forbidden took down the 419, 16-13, a really, really close affair, and lastly, Bands adding Paradox to their account as well, winning 16-10, which stops Paradox's mini comeback. Now we get to the NA division. A few more games are played here as well. We have the Mythic taking down the Alcoholics Anonymous, and basically Mythic starting to win games here. Chaos defeating Big Frames, Rugrats losing to Swedish Canadians, barely. Big Frames taking down Infinity, Morning Way taking down Polar Ace, and Team 1, losing to Under 21. Now Mythic lost to Chaos, Under 21 basically killed Way to French, and Team 1 and Alcoholics Anonymous knocking out the Buff Daddy's PayPal crew, who don't have many of their players that got them into the MDL in the first place. Now, Big Frames lose to Swedish Canadians, and Swedish Canadians to take down Chaos as well, which is a lot of big picks. Polar Ace also pretty much an easy win against Infinity. Now, Rugrats just, absolutely decimated Under 21. Under 21 being the former grand finalists, and also they were in relegation as well. Or, in the playoffs, as, they took them down pretty easily. And now Mythic, in probably, I'm going to say, Flom's best game yet, took down Team 1 16-3, and this is showing how Team 1 have fallen. Team 1 used to be the second best Brazilian team, believe it or not, guys. They used to be the second best Brazilian team, and now they're just the 5th best or 6th best. They played so poorly, and basically, Alcoholics Anonymous keep the comms up, Blood, Sweat, and Tears lose to Swedish Canadians, the Whalers win, and basically Chaos win as well. And basically with NACS, it's basically pretty much unpredictable as hell. I wouldn't probably try to predict any of these games. There's also another game as well, which is basically Morning Wave v Recon 5, which was postponed due to Neptune being unable to connect to the server. And I suppose that Recon 5 will probably win this as well. Now we get to the Home Sweet Home Week 3. So basically the third week coming in at the moment. So Group A, Group B, Group C have been played. Group D is playing at the moment. And basically Team Secret took out Skade. So Sprout and Apex, out of that vision, I'll probably expect Virtus Pro and Sprout to go through, but it's a big upset for Apex to go through. Salamander Gaming and AGO, probably the teams I did expect to go through, especially Salamander Gaming going through 2-0, AGO going through 2-1, and probably it's either Forze or AGO losing the winner bracket games against Salamander Gaming, and Forze probably being the unfortunate team that was eliminated here. Last but not least, the biggest surprise is Smash topping the group in Group C. That's what I'm going to say, that's the biggest surprise I've seen. I did not expect Smash to top it. I expected Fate to get eliminated because Fate, I will say now, Fate is probably, not good enough to fare well against any of these teams. It's always going to be third or fourth for Fate. And meanwhile, Team Secret is taking first in the group. I don't think Team Secret is going to win the decider or win the winners match. Given that endpoint and big, I agree will one of these 3 teams here, other than Skade, of course, will probably defeat one of the 2 teams. Next up, we're going to do Road to Rio, which is interesting because I can't find anything in there, but we're going to talk about the Oceanic stage. So Oceanic stage was done this week. It was done over, 2 to 3 days. Actually, it was done over 3 days. And basically, Ground Zero has gone out, and Auto and Chiefs are going to the semi-finals, and Renegades will be in the grand final. Renegades will probably win this 2-0. They beat every team 2-0. They didn't drop a single map. And Orders and Chiefs will probably be the closest game that you'll get this tournament. That's pretty much it. That's what I'm going to say. And Ground Zero just very, very uncompetitive, as you can see here. -45 and losing all their maps 2-0. The only map that really competitive it was against Chiefs on the first map, where they brought it to overtime, and to Renegades, where they brought it to overtime as well. But overall, Ground Zero were very, very uncompetitive, and Void decided to quit today as well. So he's gonna, basically leave Ground Zero, but sub in until they find a 5th. And it's pretty untimely, I guess, that Void decides to leave. But if he's not feeling it, he's not feeling it. And just Ground Zero played overly poorly in that. Renegades, well, no ring rust. No ring rust whatsoever. As they play incredibly well and they get the streak, they get the grand final spot. to be completely expected. Now, I'm going to talk about the Road Rear in Asia so far. So, pardon, guys, I burped out of nowhere. So, with Asia at the moment, basically Vici, Tiger, Lucid Dreamers, and Beyond Esports already finished their groups. In fact, they finished the last ones today. The ones that are currently going at the moment is the Tyloo, D13, stuff like that. They're playing right now. And the Camel Riders. I suspect the Tyloo and the Camel Riders to make it through. And basically, it's going to be 2-1, 3-0. And basically, Tyloo and Camel Riders will be going to the finals, which will be on tomorrow. Last but not least, we're going to go to the CIS scene. CIS scene, I think last time was just starting, and now it's practically finishing. It will probably be over in the next few days or so. And Team Spirit currently are 4-0 rating, then Windstrike. And I'm going to say now, Namiga and Forze, it's really disappointing that Forze are so low down here, while, a team that was similar ability, Team Spirit, is so high up. Na'Vi and their own group have a bit of trouble. They actually dropped the BO3 series against VP, I believe. And they're in a three-way tie at the moment, but Na'Vi fortunately defeated Prosto. And now that VP v Prosto matchup will be massive. This matchup here will be massive. Where is it? VP v Prosto. Or VP already lost to Prosto. So that's why it's a three-way tie at the top with Na'Vi leading due to round difference. And I think VP should be tied with Na'Vi on round difference, and Prosto should be third instead. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the CIS scene. The CIS scene will probably finish up over the next few days. And there'll probably be a few games tonight in the CIS scene to probably end up the groups. Team Unique's already been eliminated. They lost 4 BO3s. And there's no way in hell that they're coming back up, given that Namiga and Force will probably verse each other. And that will probably deny it. I think Namiga and Force will verse each other eventually. No, they've already played Namiga v Force. It's just there's one more game left and they can't win 2 games. So next up is going to be the Americans. So they've already started the final series. So basically it was Gen G, 100 Thieves, Cloud9. Then Fura, Envy, and Team Liquid of MRBR being eliminated. So Team Liquid took down 1,100 Thieves, and Cloud9 took down Envy, and now 100 Thieves and Envy will play for the 5th place match. And then essentially it's the semi-finals here: Furia v Team Liquid, Gen G vs Cloud9, and they'll go to the grand final. The losers go to the 3rd place. And I'm going to say I'm not surprised with the results. I'm not surprised with Envy losing it. I'm not surprised with Team Liquid being 100 Thieves. To be completely expected, to be honest. Team Liquid are a much better team. And Envy, only winning 1 map, just couldn't get it through and get it done in the end. Now, these matchups, I expect Team Liquid to take down Furia. I expect Gen G to take down Cloud9. And I think Team Liquid might win online, in my opinion. I think they might win online. And that's my opinion there. Next up, we're going to go with EU. EU is going to be finished up tonight, likely, as there's 4 teams on 3 and 3. And, dude, that's insane. I'm going to say that's insane. As I said, this was the group of death, and of course, Complexity and Dignitas were never going to make it through. That's what I'm going to say. They were never, ever going to make it through. And I did say, early on, that this was the group of death, Group A. And Astralis and Nip already made it through. And I suspect this is going to be a close one. It's going to be between Ants, Vitality, Heretics, and all these guys, whether they're going to make it through or not. And as you can see here, there's a big playoff bracket. Only, 1st to 4th go through. 5th and 6th. They actually do go through into a 9th and 11th place match to decide for prize money. And, I'm going to say, with the top 4, I reckon, I'm not sure who the teams are versing at the moment. But, we'll wait and see. But I think all these teams are versing each other in the final matchup. And they'll basically decide where they're going to go. If they're going to be in the playoffs, or they're going to be out of the playoffs. I suspect that Fnatic and Heretics... Actually, I should double check, actually. I think it'll be... Let's see who's playing at the moment. I think it'd be Fnatic. Oh, no. Well, Nip don't have to win it. I reckon Vitality will be one of the teams that goes through. And I'm not sure if Complexity and Dignitas are playing for bottom. Vitality and Heretics are playing for a spot. And I'm not sure who's going to win out of this one. It's going to be a tough one to see who gets the last spot. Because it's going to be based on round difference and tie breaks. Which would be very, very awkward for those teams in there. It might actually go off round difference if the head-to-heads aren't fulfilled. And, last but not least, we'll give you guys a CSGO highlight clip before we go to our next Chilltime Joseph, which is going to be the game review edition. I'll take a small toilet break because, just a small toilet break because I'm just currently busting for a toilet break at the moment. It's probably from the Coke I'm drinking. And it's going to go talk about the Vax here, which I'm going to explain and go through with it on how well it was, how good it was. So let's just go through it now. Flashbang goes out, Vax still defeats Rain, even blinded. And now it's a 5v3. So this is Overt v Forbidden in the Mount Dew League, just in case you guys are wondering. And this is just a clip from Vax's ace. Molotov thrown at short. Vax has gone off the angle, but he's actually going on the angle. He's still being aggressive. He's still on the progress smoke angle. Flashbang goes in. Vax knows someone's there. Vax misses the shot. He drops off into CT, throws a flash over. And his teammate will probably boost him back on the side. Watts takes off long. He's just checking all the positions before he goes. This is actually a good frag from Watts here. Topping thrown towards short. Jam holding long. And Vax sees the shadow. See that there? Basically, look at that. Like, look how good that is. Look how good that bad. Like, this is the more of a bad smoke from Forbidden, where you can see here, he can see the shadow. Okay, like he can see the shadow here. He can even see the foot through the smoke. And this wasn't the best smoke for Forbidden. The smoke's got to be here for this progress smoke. It cannot be on here. Otherwise, Vax, you can see here from Ninja, you can see the foot and the shadow. And it doesn't take, you know, some simple mathematics to see is here. Vax sees the shadow, drops Zuko, and there goes the bomb. Now, Watts good for one. Takes down Jam. But it's definitely injured. Now, Vax waiting for the I've got to say here, just edge of the smoke, player just walks into it. Basically, they know that he's here. They know that Vax is here. And just Vax is just basically cleaning them all up at this point. Takes down Charizard. Vax going to go for the ace. And he will get the ace. He's got to be very careful. So in the end, he does get the ace. But dude, there's a lot of key things in this play. The first one is this one. The AWPer's instinct to basically shoot when they are flashed is perfect and spot on. A lot of AWPers do this. When they get flashed, they shoot just as the flash happens because they know a player will probably peek out and try to take them down, hoping to hit them. And this, you know, perfect by Vax. Completely blinded, gets the first kill. Another thing about Vax here is he studies that smoke. Like, you know, even though he drops a shot, goes down there. We go back to this point where he's studying the smoke. So basically, when we get up to him, as he's on still on the bomb side, holding long. Like, as you see here, he can spot that shadow there. Like, he can see that shadow. And he's playing super aggressive on seeing that shadow. And basically, Zuko's left for dead, basically. And the thing is that Zuko really should have made sure there wasn't a gap there so he wouldn't be revealed quite easily. And some people were saying this was VAC, like this was cheating. Like, dude, you can see the fucking shadow right here. He can see that a player is there. And we'll continue this. Sees the shadow, drops Zuko, and there goes the bomb. Now, Watts good for one. Takes down Jam. But it's definitely injured. And lastly about this is his instinct as well to check the smoke. Because basically I'm going to say now, like, Jam probably told Vax that, oi, the guy on long's being severely damaged. Hold short. And basically Charizard tries to peek in, he goes down. Gonna go for the ace, and he will get the ace. Gonna be very... And that's pretty much how that play went in the end. You know, that's how much that play went in the end. As you see there, basically Vax, very good movement, very good instinct, and 100% deserved that ace that he got. Anyways, guys, this is going to be it for the CSGO part of Chilltime with Jose. Next up, we're going to do the Assassin's Creed week for game reviews. If you guys are on YouTube, subscribe below. You can also go to my Twitch and my Twitter. So if you want to see if I'm live or not, go to there and you can basically view it from there. I'm going to have a quick break, go to the toilet, and I'll be back with the game review section. So I hope to see you guys in a few, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day if you guys are going to leave us now. If not, you can stay in and wait for me to get back for our second part of the show. Hope to see you guys then. See you guys later.